Gotta hurry up before I get mugged. Most women think that chasing is a sign of love. They think that if I explain more and I do double monkey backflips, that he'll finally like me and pay attention to me. If I just send out one novel worth of text, it'll make him like me again or make him fall in love. And then you want to tell people you watch my channel after doing all of that needy, creepy stuff. But attraction does not work that way. The more pressure you put on them, the more pressure he feels, the more distance you'll create. What feels like chemistry to you, to that guy, feels like a needy, creepy energy that causes them to push you away. So the harder you chase, the more likely they will pull away. That's why most people inadvertently create the very thing they're trying to prevent. You're trying to make them fall in love, but chasing and being needy and creepy pushes them away. So what do you do when you're in that predicament? When you have compulsions you can't control? The more you chase, the more they pull away. And that's the principle I want you guys to understand in this video, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Because the truth is this, what feels like fighting for love often is the very thing that pushes them away. And then that makes us come to the conclusion is that you have to do the opposite. Let me explain. So what is the root cause behind this compulsive need to overtext, to text too much, to chase too much, to beg? Look, once you're in begging, needy, creepy territory, I mean that's problematic, but it's problematic in a good way, meaning that you might need to look back into your past to understand where this comes from, because sometimes understanding why you behave that way for some people is all you need. You know, that is all you need to break your own pattern sometimes. And if understanding the root cause of your behavior, as you can see, it's a fucking tree and there's a root the opposite way. If that's not enough, I'm gonna talk about a recommendation towards the end of the video, okay? But let's talk about the root cause. Essentially, the reason why sometimes you need to beg for attention, that you have the compulsive need to chase, is because you weren't given unconditional love, okay? The only time you were given attention is when you misbehaved. In other words, to get love, you had to have an emergency. Right? Look at this, a sad, broken heart, right? And that either means acting out, misbehaving, being the one that makes the bigger scene, or sometimes, a lot of the times, the only time you got attention from your parents were when they were mad or when they were trying to relieve their anger on you. Okay, so attention only came in a stressful and negative way. Okay, and that creates the type of anxiety that doesn't leave you. Sometimes also is that you felt that love had to be earned. A lot of the times parents put kids against their siblings. Okay, and when they put kids against their siblings, they feel like that in order for them to get the attention of their parents, they have to perform, right? They have to be the most docile, the nicest one, the most successful one, right? But the problem with that is that you never really truly relax. You never get attention from your parents without having to have an emergency, okay? And that a lack of attention that's calm and that's soothing is never given to you, and so you're always left stressed out. You're left with an emptiness that never got filled by your parents through their unconditional attention. And even when they gave you unconditional attention, that attention was never good enough. It was maybe too aggressive. And so when they gave you the attention you needed, they didn't have the patience to soothe you. So maybe they wanted you to calm down quicker because they lacked they lacked patience, and so you said, fuck that shit, man, don't talk to me. But you were still left with a feeling of unhappiness and unease. And what happens is that you grow up with that feeling of unease. You never know that's not normal, right? And so when you go out into real life trying to make friends, you have this needy, creepy energy with friends and relationships that you think you're about to be abandoned. You think that the attention that they're going to give you is unconditional. It's conditional. So because of that, you have to perform. You develop an ego, or some people become hypersexual in order to get attention from people, right? And so you feel like love has to be earned. You have to perform for attention, and you resent that. Okay, you start to resent the fact that you have to perform, and what happens is that the resentment, you start to develop a personality that revolves around the resentments that you had because your parents didn't meet your needs. Okay, it's not that you didn't get, it's not that they didn't meet your needs, but that the compounding effect of not getting your needs met is also that you resent that. Okay, and so a lot of the times we grow up with that feeling, and that becomes bottled up because you don't understand that you're feeling resentment, and it manifests itself in unhealthy ways, in needy, creepy behavior that pushes people away or attracts people who take advantage of you. So love became an emergency for you, right? The love that you got was never unconditional, so it came with resentment. And even the love that you got, it never truly soothed you because they weren't regulated enough. In order for parents to soothe their kids, they also need to be regulated. They also need to be calm. If you're not calm, then if they're not calm, you're not going to be calm. In fact, the studies show that in order for, if you want to decrease the anxiety of a child, all you got to do is decrease the anxiety of the parent. As soon as a parent becomes calm, the creepy child becomes calm. When they pull away, your creepy nervous systems sees it as an emergency, right? Why? Because as children, when your parents didn't soothe you, it felt like a catastrophic event. It felt extremely catastrophic. It may not be much to us, to adults, but to a child, when you don't completely calm them down, it's catastrophic. And so they grow up with this nervous tension, and that nervous tension is off-putting because that nervous tension creates an ego that tends to want attention or is afraid of attention. Either or, it's repulsive to people. Your parents were never regulated, never regulated your nervous system, and so you stayed hungry for love. And the truth is this: is that you can't blame your parents. Most likely, they were also parents that were also neglectful, and so this pattern repeats itself through generations. And it's important to understand that because sometimes they did their best, and even the parents that were malicious, that were narcissistic, that were malignant on rare occasions. It's important to learn how to forgive them, because if you don't forgive them, this tension, this compulsive desire to get their validation is never going to go away. It's only going to go away once things settle, and the way you settle is not by going into the past. It's by forgiving them. Whether or not they deserve it, who gives a fuck? It's all about you. It's all about you learning to forgive them and learning to let go of that, right? So that's the first root cause, which is actually one of the biggest root causes. You feel like love has to be earned. They put your siblings against each other. They compared you all the time. Why can't you be like your sister? Why can't you be like your uncle? Why can't you be like your cousin? You have to perform for attention, and so you resent that, and that resentment comes from your unmet needs, and you develop a personality around your resentments that are unconscious and that you bottled up, and love became an emergency, right? So that's one thing, right? So now let's talk about the next thing. So now that we understand the source of your needy, creepy behavior, why do you actually chase? Now I decided to come to Mexico so I could explain this a little bit more intensely, okay? So you're actually not chasing them. What you're actually chasing is really relief. Relief from what? Well, like I said, when your parents didn't pay attention to you, or they gave you too much intense attention with too much emotion. There was no relaxation on their nervous system. It created anxiety. Either they gave you too much attention, or they created too much distance. Either or, you were a creepy little baby and you were anxious, okay? And that anxiety makes you want more attention. It makes you say, wah, wah, give me attention, by either one, misbehaving and crying more, right? Or two, by just wanting to be left alone, right? A lot of the times you could become an emotionally distant person. But the point is that you develop needy, creepy behaviors. Either you become a people pleaser, right? Or your parents don't pay attention to you unless you get certain grades, right? And that people pleasing behavior creates relief, right? And so all of a sudden you're more relaxed. Your parents validated you. You either misbehaved so much that you got attention, right? And that creates more anxiety, right? Because they're not really relieving your anxieties. The way that you relieve a child's anxiety is through touching them, right? It's through literally, oh my God, Father Alex, put put saliva in his hair. Listen, man, I'm part monkey, okay? So the way that you soothe the baby is that when the little creepy baby is crying, you pick it up and you go like that. Don't cry, little baby. Don't cry, little baby, right? And you're like, whang, whang. And you're like, shh, calm down. There's a hypnotic quality to a mother's and even a father's relaxing tone, right? Now, when the mother is stressed out, or the father is stressed out, what happens? There's no relaxing tone. There's shut the fuck up, right? There's like a edginess or like a grittiness to the voice, a sharpness in movement. And the baby is like, yo, bitch, put me the fuck down. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want this type of love, right? You put the creepy baby down, and all of a sudden the baby's still crying, right? That type of dissatisfaction stays with that baby for the rest of his life, right? And so the way that that baby learns relief is not through oxytocin, because that softness, the caressing, releases oxytocin. The baby then relies on dopamine. Dopamine, experiences, thoughts, playing video games, doing anything that keeps me away from the person that's supposed to calm me down. Right, and that becomes a pattern of their life where they seek any form of validation, because validation is dopamine. Validation is not oxytocin, right? Well, it depends, right? But it's the type of validation that we're talking about is actually is actual physical touch and relaxation. This type of validation is stimulation. And that causes you to perform, dance, monkey, dance for that performance. So maybe they rewarded a needy, creepy behavior. They rewarded chasing too much, right? Or even being manipulated, right? Where you learn that I can't be myself around my parents, right? Because there's so many things going on. So I have to find some form of manipulation. I have to be the victim, right? Or I have to be the pleaser and compliment my mom a lot, compliment my dad a lot just to get any form of attention, right? Or act like an adult, right? Anything that says I can't just be myself and get love and attention. So you never truly find your most attractive personality. So you're raised with this mask that you have to put on, and over time you resent that shit, right? You resent that. The problem with this pattern is that this pattern creates this distance. Distance, you get anxiety, needy, creepy behavior compulsively. So you chase someone. No matter how many of my videos you watch, you can't stop that pattern because you're not really looking for the chasing. What you're actually looking for is relaxation, the relaxation that you deserved when you were cute little baby. Okay, all right. And I'm not gonna call you guys creepy anymore. Right? It's disrespectful to the baby community. And so the key to break this down is to lower the anxiety. Naturally, your parents should have calmed the fuck down, okay? That should have been the responsibility of your mommy and daddy. They should have been calm. But unfortunately, we didn't. When you have a calm mother and father, the child all of a sudden stops having exorcisms and it calms down. But when the parents are intense and stressed out, it's very difficult. And usually you see that in single parent homes because the mother's stressed, they gotta work a lot. Or parents of alcoholics, parents of gamblers, right? Dysfunctional homes where both parents are always fighting. Of course, the kids are gonna do crack. What the fuck? Like, they're gonna be anxious as fuck. They're gonna create needy, creepy babies, right? They're gonna create strippers. They're gonna create pimps. They're gonna create that type of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So what you wanna do is find ways to calm yourself down, but not through chasing. Because chasing is only going to create more anxiety. You start thinking, you feel anxiety, you start to fantasize, right? You start to fantasize about being with that person, and you think that being with that person will make you happy. Like a crackhead thinking that one more hit of crack is going to calm the anxiety. It's only going to perpetuate that cycle. Chasing, calling, I'm texting, being persistent, sending a mariachi band. None of that shit works. If you only knew what truly motivated you to do that, you would stop. You gotta find some form of relief. And we're gonna talk about that throughout the end of the video. And the problem is this energy only attracts people who complement that pattern. People who create that pattern, people who were in that cycle. So you only complement people who are also neglected, who are also resentful, who are also in pain, who need revenge. So hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people, right? What you want to go is for this anxiety, and you can't use what life has taught you works, because it truly doesn't work. It just creates more pain and more anxiety for you. So why does chasing never work? And then you tell people you watch my channel when you chase. Let's talk about this. chasing never works. You become the worst version of yourself. Somebody call an ambulance for this guy. Lord have mercy. Where's the knife? You become your worst version of yourself. You think you're being calm. You think you're being smooth. But guess what? You like him. Your needy, creepy Jekyll and Hyde side comes out when you like a guy. That's the point. That's the whole point. Look at her. She can't see herself. The guy needs help. You got to stop giving away premium access for free. You got to learn to slowly show a guy your crazy side. Slowly. Let him fall in love first. The problem is that when you get a fucking wink, or when a guy shows interest, when a guy shows that he has some form of potential, all of y'all, including me, go crazy. That Father Alex is not normal, people. Don't get it twisted. A lot of the times when people are good on camera, there's something wrong with them. Yeah, that's right, people. Father Alex is crazy, right? Hey man, hey, you know, you're crazy too, but I'm a lot of crazy too. And why haven't you invited me to the Tyrone show? I've been a little offended. I've been around for so many years on standby. I've been reading the text messages. People are like, bring Tyrone in. And here I am waiting. Anyways, I gotta go. Oh, thank you, Tyrone, for being on the show. So, so stop giving them premium access. The more available you become, the less they invest. And the reason why is this, it's not that all of a sudden you're available and all of a sudden now they're busy. It's the energy the energy of being willing to, of being always available for somebody you like in the beginning. That energy doesn't attract guys that value that. That energy just attracts the wrong type of guy. Now, this type of guy is perfect, right? This type of guy needs help. But there are guys that when they see your availability, your willingness, your desire for validation, they fumble at the mouth. They start salivating. They know that they can take advantage of you. And that's the problem. It attracts energy that you just don't want to have in your life, right? The chasing comes with creepy, needy, nonverbal cues. Now, what do I mean by that? Look at her, right? Her fucking eyes are popping out of her head, right? She's like that, right? She's frantic, literally crackhead energy. And the thing is that with that, when you're in that state of needy creepiness, you can't have any good level of self-awareness. It's like friends. I have friends that are smooth. As soon as you put them around a girl, they start having their back gets hunched over, they start breathing a little deeper, and they start talking to a girl like, hey girl, how's it going? I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like you just turned from fucking Enrique Iglesias to fucking the Goblin from the Lord of the Rings. It's unbelievable. Like how you're not aware. That even happens to me too. The problem is that we have a different version of ourself in our psyche. There's a version that when we feel confident, it comes out. And then there's a version that when we feel like we have no leverage, it comes out. Just like some people turn into a different, shut up, bird. Just like there's some people who turn into a different person when they have power, right? There are different versions of us that comes out. And the problem is that when you have a lot of repressed emotions, a lot of resentment, those versions of you split. The more resentment, the more anger that you have towards the opposite sex, your parents, the more of a split you become, meaning you become a really nice person, but when you get really needy, you become really, really, really desperate. But the less repressed you are, the more you've forgiven those who hurt you, the less of an extreme you are. So yeah, when you meet someone you're like here on this level of extreme. But then when you don't like them, when you like them, you become the here. There's no like gaps, right? And the way that you fill in those gaps and become more normal, meaning you become more consistent when you like them, when you don't like them, is dealing with unprocessed emotions. Right, dealing with the pain of the past, because really it's really just unspoken, unprocessed resentments that controls your actions when you like someone, and that makes you act attractive when you don't like someone. This is why no matter how many times you watch my videos, no matter how many times you block them, right, you're not gonna. I thought it's gonna get robbed. No matter how many videos you watch, your actions can change because really you're dealing with a compulsive behavior. Right? So the more chasing, the more needy, creepy, nonverbal cues you have. So you blink more, your eyes are more shut up, right? You react faster, you're more twitchy, right? You have this energy about you that to a guy that knows how to take advantage of women, they can sense that. And healthy guys will run away from that. You're only gonna attract unhealthy energy. So stop giving discounts for yourself, right? Proof, notice what happens when you don't like the person. Just notice what happens when you don't like the person. When you don't like the person, you become more smooth,
more consistent, more selective, right? Your standards are higher. Even the way you walk and talk is more relaxed, right? I mean, why? Is because you're not triggered. And why? You're relaxed. Learn how to find relaxation, right? Tyrone, what do you think about that? Hey man, I totally agree. Man, look, I'm a personal trainer. I make over $100,000 a year, and I got 3 kids and a wife. And I hate when women try to hit on Tyrone. Don't know that Tyrone got a family and kids. Don't know that Tyrone is a man of the family. Yeah, that's right. I am not a player. I am not that man who I used to be. I'm a Jewish black man. That's right, people. Jewish black man, and I converted. And I'm a man of my family. So don't you ever try to assume that you can hire Tyrone and sleep with Tyrone, because I am a man of my family. Anyways, I gotta go. Hey man, y'all better stop playing with Tyrone, man. Anyways, so that's one thing, right? Your chasing never works, and it's all about the energy, right? It's really all about the energy. If your energy, no matter how much of the strategies you apply, if your energy is needy, creepy, it's not gonna work, right? It's all about how you do things.
So what's the solution, right? Because clearly knowing tactics and strategies don't seem to work. Okay, when we're needy and creepy, we're very hard-headed, and no matter how many times you hear somebody tell you say this and say that, when you really like the person, it becomes impossible to do. So what do you do then? Well, it's almost like a little bright idea. And what's this bright idea? Standards before tactics. Standards will be a very better barometer about what to do than tactics themselves. And usually, the way that it works is that you want to be able to understand this through experience. Okay, and this sometimes means messing up. This sometimes means going against my strategies and seeing it with your own very eyes that being needy and creepy just doesn't work out, right? Let me just make sure I'm reading the correct text. Okay. So, more effort won't create attraction. That's just the insecure mind, okay? Better texting, better gifts is not gonna fix low effort. All right, so no backflips or somersaults. Okay, what you want to be able to do is relax your low efforts. Right, is relax because your low effort self is the best version of yourself. Right, what do I mean by that? Well, generally speaking, the most attractive version of yourself is the one that just doesn't try, is the nonchalant version, your true self, right? Look at we're not calling kids creepy no more. Look at children, right? They're very charismatic. They're very likable because they don't try, right? That's why I don't even like kids who try too much. I'm like, I don't like that kid. Okay, he tries too hard, right? And the problem though is that a lot of the times you think you put effort, you think you're being chilled and laid back, but the problem is that that's really the problem. Is that self-deception. When you're a needy person, or you have desperate energy, a lot of the times our ego won't let us admit that. Your ego won't let you admit the truth that maybe you have needy, creepy energy. So you lie to yourself. You even create a history of your life in your mind, a narrative that you always were on top, that you were the victim, that you were wronged, without realizing that you put yourself in that situation because of the needy, creepy energy. So how do you overcome that? Well, actually, a really good exercise: write down your whole history of dating, your whole dating life history. Sit your butt down, talk to ChatGPT, or just type it out. Type out your whole history. Start from your relationship with your parents, and then just type out your relationship history with friends and romantic partners. Just write it out. What you're gonna see, and then read it to yourself. There's a difference between how you think about your life through remembering versus writing it down and then reading it again. Because when you think about it, you usually think about certain facts in a distorted, twisted way to fit your ego, confirmation bias. But when you write down the facts and you recall those facts in your mind and you read it in a written way, it's completely different. And a lot of the times it reveals to you that in reality you've been really desperate. That the people who you liked, you pushed them away because you did too much. The solution is to go in the opposite direction. Don't try. Just don't try. And the problem is that that's really hard because we have compulsive energy. But the best way to believe what I'm telling you is to just try and see what happens. Or just think about the situations where you didn't try, The problem is that it's not a factual thing. This is an emotional thing. You need to be at peace for you to truly understand this. And this is where the next one, this is where the next thing you have to do.
All right. I think this apartment is empty. 1 second. Now, let's talk about this. You gotta learn how to choosing peace over chasing, or even getting caught with a felony, right? What a lot of women don't understand is that you have to prevent this this thing from happening, from chasing and over pursuing people you shouldn't over pursue. Let's put this over here because it's dark in here. To pursue people you shouldn't be pursuing. I always say this: go after easy situations. Going after easy situations will stop the chasing, stop the creepiness, stop the neediness. Okay? Why is that? Well, because in situations that you shouldn't be talking, that are toxic, it's usually the most difficult situations. It's like an NBA 2K playing in Hall of Fame mode rather than in rookie mode. Real love is not difficult. It's not difficult to start, at least. It's not difficult. Yeah, to keep it's hard, from what I heard, right? But to start it, it shouldn't be difficult. Only toxic motherfuckers make it difficult, right? Go after the easy ones, right? And any guy that triggers anxiety, any guy that makes you need to watch my channel, any guy that makes you chase, any guy that makes you stop putting this face on, get the hell away from them. Plain and slicking off. But that's just the truth. All right. The goal should be for you to become someone who no longer has to chase. All you got to do is be like a fucking statue and say yes, Poppy. If he likes you, the only thing you got to do, okay, is for you to say yes, Poppy, and that's it. Do you want to be my girlfriend? Yes. Do you want to go on a date? Yes. Do you want to marry me? Yes. That's it. You don't have to be the one that asks him. In fact, don't even look at the motherfucker. Make sure they notice you. Don't even look at them. Don't look out, because that needy, creepy energy, manipulators see and they salivate over this. And they salivate over this. Right? No Scooby-Doo, no guys that are difficult to read, right? None of that. No personal trainers that you don't know if he's single or not. Go for the ones that are so easy. The problem is that sometimes our ego, we need difficult situations to validate our self-esteem, right? We need people that are difficult to validate our self-esteem. And what that is it's just low self-worth. Low self-worth will tell you, well, let's go to the other room because I'm speaking a little bit too loud.
By the way, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and check out my courses that I sell in the description down below. Those courses are best for people who are in relationships and people who are single. There's a video where I describe all of my courses, and you can get all of my courses in a bundle. Just click on the description down below where it says check out the video, and in that video I describe everything. And if you guys want one-on-one coaching and work with Father Alex, you could book a one-on-one session by the description down below. And if you don't, I'm closing the channel. Let's continue with the video.
Low self-worth will tell you that distance makes him lose interest, that conflict makes him lose interest. That's what low self-worth will tell you. That having disagreements makes you lose interest. That disappointing him, that pulling away, that having standards makes him lose interest. The devil is a liar, okay? This comes from a fear of abandonment. Look at this creepy little child, right? She's afraid of being hurt, okay? This is a little Chinese girl from China, right? And she's afraid of being abandoned, right? And with this fear is gonna make you fear distance, fear conflict. Fuck that shit. Conflict is actually what you need to one, understand a man's character, right? And two, for you to see whether or not this relationship is compatible. Sometimes, let's get to the psychologist, Alex, okay? Listen to this, right? Sometimes, conflict is what you need to see whether or not how much you've grown, whether or not you've grown out of this childlike self, whether or not you have healed your childhood wounds, how you react to conflict. Because the same way you react to conflict is the same type of guy you're gonna get with conflict. If you avoid conflict, you're gonna get a guy who's hyper aggressive. If you're hyper aggressive, you're gonna get a guy who is super passive, and you're gonna lose respect for him. okay? Distance, naturally, in the beginning, reveals a man's true emotions. Notice what happens when there's distance, right? So when there's distance, naturally, he's gonna get needy, right? Or he's gonna get manipulative, or he's gonna be honest with you and ask you what's going on, right? Why are you being distant? Did I do something? Did I hurt you? Right? Those three reactions will tell you so much. And then what you want is that when there's distance, is for you to be calm, right? It's for him to be calm. It's for him to seek you out. But how? Well, let me show you. Let's get out of here because I thought I heard some footsteps. Oh, damn, man, you didn't have to kick me out. Sorry about that, people. I guess they saw me there. So yeah, oh, goddamn, man, I hate getting caught. So what do you have? Sorry about that, people. I got a little discombobulated, man. They threw Father Alex out. I can't believe it, man. So what's the solution to all of this? Well, people, one calm message and then silence, right? Or better yet, doing less. Do nothing, okay? If you're sensing any resistance from the guy, any games, no essays, no unpublished books, okay? Don't send them those novels. They don't want to read that shit. No long voice messages, no threats, okay? For the Bronx people, no threats. Don't send your pit bull, right? It even says it here, no unleashing your pit bull, right? No begging and no compromising. Okay, you gotta know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, just write down your whole dating history and just read it out loud to yourself. You're gonna notice that your behavior has given you the opposite of what you're truly seeking for, right? So what you wanna be able to do is say, I'm stepping back if a guy's being distant, right? And careful if this happens in the first 1 or 2 months. Let's actually turn careful if you have to do this in the beginning. Why? Because in the beginning, it should be easy. Listen. You should never deal with conflict with blocking people and playing games. The way you deal with this is through open communication and keeping everything at peace. If you can't have peaceful conflict with the guy, if you can't have calm conflict, constructive conflict, if the cup stuff doesn't have to be flying and things don't get dangerous, if things are not, if you guys cannot do things in a peaceful way, it's not meant to be. You guys need to work on yourselves, right? So careful if this happens in the first 1 or 2 months. For longer relationships, you got to try more. First of all, for longer relationships, you should not be blocking people. You should not be playing games. The way you deal with this conflict is through peace and transparency. If it's too much for him, if the guy is too much of an egomaniac and he can't deal with that, if he stonewalls you, the solution is to get the hell out. It's not meant to be. You gotta walk away from people like that. It's not gonna happen. It's just that simple, right? Like, it's funny. People are so easy to tolerate people's bullshit in the beginning, but then once you're in a relationship with them, you tolerate their bullshit. It's like, no, be less tolerant of bullshit in the beginning. And if they pass that test, what you'll notice is that there's less bullshit longer in the relationship. And if there is bullshit, well, guess what? Time to test them. Have that conflict. Have that peaceful, non-Bronx energy conversation. Talk to him. Don't unleash your pit bull at him, right? Just have a calm conversation. And if you can't, then that means you got to step away from relationships and learn and manage your emotions. And let me show you guys how to manage those feelings. All right, so let's conclude, all right? So the more you chase, the more they pull away. Remember that, right? The creepy, what feels like fighting for love, often pushes them away. Next slide. The root cause is the fact that you believe that love has to be earned, that love has become an emergency for you. When they pull away, your creepy, needy nervous system sees it as an emergency, right? Your parents never truly regulated your own nervous system because they also weren't unregulated, and you feel like you have to perform in order to get attention. And what happens when you do this is that you are not chasing them. In reality, you're chasing relief from the fact that your parents didn't soothe you the way you deserve to be soothed, right? Distance to you is anxiety, which causes needy, creepy behavior that was wired in you, which causes relief
It increases more anxiety, which creates more distance in the person that you want to be with, okay? What you want to do is go from this sad person to this happy person in the fucking clouds, right? The next thing is like why chasing never works. First of all, it's very needy and it's very creepy, and then you tell people you watch my channel. You can't be doing that. You become your own worst version. So stop putting premium access to yourself. The more available you become, the less they invest. The chasing comes with creepy, needy, and non-verbal cues. So like, you talk fast, right? You're like that. You have this like just highly energetic energy that looks desperate, right? So what you got to do is not think of tactics, right? Because tactics is not something that you could fix with tactics. This is an emotional thing. You got to have standards before tactics. Relax. Your low effort self is your most attractive self. Beware of self-deception. Sometimes you think you're doing less, and in reality, you're lying to yourself in order to do more. Okay, so better texting won't fix low effort. More effort won't create attraction. What you want to be able to do is be honest with yourself and write down your dating history, right? And read it to yourself. Write down all of your history with men and even with your parents, and read it to yourself. Self-awareness is the first step towards out of neediness. And what to do instead? Well, when somebody gives you, when you feel like you gotta block someone, when you gotta be manipulative, just send one calm text message. I'm going to step back. Careful if this happens in the first month or so, right? In the first month or so, there should be no conflict. In the first month, there should be no conflict. You don't need to pull away. In the first month, there should just be open communication and consistency upward to a relationship. There should not be any breakups. It should not be difficult. You should not be on the phone with Father Alex in the first month, okay? No essays, no unpublished books, no threats, no unleashing your pit bull at them, okay? No begging, no compromising. Okay, and if he wants to go fast, slow his hot ass down. All right, and for longer term relationships, if you're in a long term relationship, you do want to actually fix it, right? But in the beginning, if there's conflict in the beginning and they're talking and fighting with you and they're very aggressive and raising their voice and stonewalling you, even get the fuck out, man. That's not gonna work, right? What you got to do in the beginning is set your standards, have your standards, set them, and if he doesn't meet them, they fail. You don't try to change people. You don't try to make them like you, right? Distance doesn't destroy good, healthy relationship. What distance does is that it reveals how they feel about you, right? This beliefs come from a fear of abandonment. Look at this little girl. She's abandoned. And because of that, she developed needy, creepy habits, right? So deal with the anxiety, not the symptoms, meaning your thoughts. Rather than getting them to chase, find a way to relax. Find a way to lower the activation of your amygdala. And you do that through a meditation practice, through practicing forgiveness. Rather than looking at videos about how to get them to like you, look at videos about how to forgive people who hurt you. That will give you much more results and longer lasting peace. Why? Because you want to choose peace over chasing. No dopamine, motherfucker. Like, goddamn, right? So go after the easy situations, people that make it easy on you. Any guy that triggers anxiety, do not tolerate that motherfucker. Don't tolerate that guy. Okay, don't tolerate any difficult situation, any manipulation. Oh my God, Father Alex, he looks like he watches your videos. If he watches my videos, get out. Okay, don't do that. So your goal is to become someone who no longer has to chase. What you got to do with guys, like I always tell you guys, is just say yes, Poppy. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is just say yes, Poppy. You don't have to initiate the chase. You don't have to initiate anything. He has to be the one that does everything, and your only job is to say, see, Poppy. All right? All right. Anyways, man, y'all better like this video. For one-on-one coaching, go to mindfulattraction.org. Check out my courses in the description down below. We're still developing the course, the commitment formula. I know it's taking longer. I'm sorry about that, people. If you guys want a refund for it, let me know. But we're still doing it. This week we should have the video on projection out. The reason why it's taking so long is because this is something that I'm doing research on, and every time I record, I feel like it's not good enough. I'm sorry, it's just my own perfectionism. But I think we have around 2 hours worth of content already in it. And so what I'm planning on doing is just releasing it every month, one video that's like 30 minutes long. And that's how we'll do it by the end of the year for sure. Anyways, man, let me know what you guys think about this. Hit the like button and subscribe. And thank you for watching my videos, man. Y'all be safe.